Sex saves marriages. Some say I'm a goddess with both brains and compassion. I say I'm 20% girl brain and 100% fun. I want to help you navigate the labyrinth that is the female mind. If you're not having sex with her, what are you even doing? It's only too much sex when it interferes with your mission. What we're talking about translates not only into success with women, but into social and business interactions across the board with anyone. I want you to win in life, in business, and primarily in sex. I'm like Dr. Ruth meets Nina Hartley, except I only take my clothes off in public when there's tequila shots involved. I'm so excited for the show. Are you ready? Let's do this. Good morning, good morning. I am so excited that you're here. Welcome to Bunny Church, also known as The Bunny Show Live. Thank you so much for joining me. Good morning, CD Bear. I am so excited that you're here. You who coined the nickname Bunny Church, and it's stuck. So it's only appropriate that you should be here every single Sunday morning with me, sitting on this pew together. This morning, I want to talk about a girl's indicators of disinterest. And where this came from was Fort Worth Playboy put up an email yesterday. If you were on his list, you got the email that had his list of indicators of disinterest. And I, from my 20% girl brain, 100% fun perspective, wanted to dive into that list a little bit more. We talk a lot about a girl's indicators of interest, how to tell if a girl is into you. And this applies on first dates, but it really does universally apply in a lot of ways, moving into kind of more established relationships, whether that's rotation, whether that's long-term relationships, whether that's marriage. So what interests me about this indicators, this list that's indicators of disinterest, is many times a girl will not fully be herself in that first date. She'll be a little bit more reserved. She'll be a little bit shy. Even girls who aren't terribly quiet will sometimes be a little bit quiet on first dates. And men will oftentimes assume that means that they are not interested in them because they're not showing as many of the indicators of interest. They're not outwardly, being as blatant as you wish they would and as clear as you wish they would be about their interest in you. And so a lot of times I think that guys are kind of caught off guard because they genuinely don't know if the girl is into them, or they're not feeling like there's a connection, and the girl's having a wonderful time and really likes you. And so as much as you need to know the thing that we talk about all the time, about her indicators of interest, about the ways that she shows you that she likes you, especially on the front end, but continuing on in the relationship, it's as important to know what to look for on the flip side. Because I think that, I think that one major factor with these indicators of interest that men often miss, especially in like first date scenarios, those first encounters with a new girl, because you don't really know her yet. So you don't know what makes her tick. You don't know, kind of her quirks. You don't know her personality. There's a lot of things that you kind of assume about her based on the conversations that you've had, kind of the run up to the first date. But you don't know. You haven't sat knee to knee with her yet. And so that's where these indicators of interest come in. The key to remember, excuse me, the key to remember with the indicators of interest from a girl is that we are trained in our DNA from birth and moving forward to make these as subtle as possible. So she's not going to grab you and give you a giant hug as her indicator of interest. She's gonna lightly touch your hand. She's going to touch you in a way that indicates that she's reaching out to you, but it may be so subtle and it may feel so natural that you don't clue in as the man sitting there with this new girl. You're not cluing in that this is an indicator that she is interested in you, because girls are designed to make her chasing you. These steps are truly her giving you the green light, giving you the go ahead, to continue to progress forward through the date. But if you're not picking up on the indicators of interest that she's giving you because they are so subtle, then you need to understand where the indicators of disinterest are so you can more easily capture those. Because a girl who is interested in you absolutely cannot afford to let you not know in some way. She doesn't have the time. That clock is ticking. She doesn't have, she spent all this time getting ready, preparing for this date with you. She wants you to know that she's into you. So she's going to give these indicators of interest. But a lot of times I'm seeing that you guys aren't necessarily picking them up. And okay, again, I speak in grand generalizations, number one. Number two, this is critically important in the first date's kind of get to know you phase of life. But number three, it is just as important moving into kind of more real relationship status that you understand that the indicators of interest and these indicators of disinterest to watch for are equally as important in long-term relationships. Because if a girl starts showing you indicators of disinterest or fewer indicators of interest, once you're really in a relationship together, she is pulling away. These are warning signs for you to know that you need to step up your game. She's backing out of the relationship, and either you're gonna use frame, you're gonna use game, you're going to use your leadership in that relationship to pull her back, or you're gonna be like, fuck off. You're going to let her go. But knowing these indicators of interest that we talk about so frequently and the indicators of disinterest that we're going to talk about today, these are of equal importance whether you are in the very first meetup with a new girl or you've been in an established relationship for quite some time. So, the 10, hold on. Okay. The 10 indicators of disinterest that you need to be hyper aware of in all interactions with girls, whether it is a first date, whether it is an established relationship, or really even in talking to every girl you see and practicing your skills, whether you're wanting to date a girl or not, like practicing on everyone, you need to know these signs, because if she's showing you these signs, your game isn't working and you need to maybe tweak some things. If these are signs that come up often, whether you're running day game, night game, text game, you name it, social media, you're reaching out social media, you're trying to date or elevate your sexual chemistry with someone from your social circle. These are all signs that you need to be aware of so that you can know when a girl is not interested or when she is pulling away. And if you see the same one or two indicators of disinterest multiple times, that's where you understand that you have a problem. So that's where you need to back up, kind of rethink your strategy and kind of recalculate and test out new stuff that lead to these indicators. Okay. My goodness, that's a 10-minute intro for this, but it's so good and it applies so across the board to so many different relationships. I can't believe I have not done a show on this list yet. And Fort Worth was a genius for creating this list in his email that went out yesterday. Again, I put that link to his email sign up in the chat box because I want you guys to be on his list. If you didn't get this email yesterday, you need it. But I'm going to dig into the specifics of why with you today. Top 10 indicators of disinterest from a girl. Number 1, the lack of eye contact. Girls can be very shy when they're first meeting you or when they're getting to know you, but she still has enough wherewithal. Even shy girls have enough social awareness, social acumen, and awareness that if she has made it as far as this date with you, she's not going to not make eye contact. She's not going to avoid eye contact with you. Even shy girls. And I have an interview with Katie Ivey this week. I'm super excited. And she is very much like the shy girl. And she's like, her thing is, don't give up on the shy girls too quickly. So we're going to talk about that on, I was going to say Thursday. I'll have to double check that. I think it's Friday. We're going to talk about that in depth about not giving up on the shy girls. But even a shy girl, if she's in front of you, if she's on a date with you, if she's married to you and she just avoids eye contact, that is a sign that she is not interested in this conversation. She's not interested in worrying about respecting you enough to give you the attention that you need while you're saying something. This is a good point. A shy girl knows that focusing on her eye contact will actually settle her anxiety. So even shy girls have social acumen. So make no mistake, if she's avoiding eye contact with you, that is a really a red flag, negative indicator that she is checked out of the conversation. Now, if she does this very seldom, if you guys have been married for 30 years and she does this seldom, whenever you start telling the same story that she's already heard 10,000 times and you're telling it to a new group of people, sometimes that girl's going to check out. She's going to like glaze over and she's going to not be able to focus on that story one more time. But for the most part, if her common theme is that she makes great eye contact, if she's engaging with you, then that is a good sign, even if you have been married for 25, 30, 40 years. If she is actually avoiding eye contact with you, that's where you've got a red flag. Number 2, no verbal responses. So you speak and she doesn't respond. She doesn't feel the need. This is a very passive aggressive disrespect that girls will do. And I feel like I'm seeing this more and more, not to sound like an old woman, but I do. I feel like I'm seeing it more and more as generations get further and further from knowing just what good manners are. So where kind of the Emily Post era, you would have never, ever been spoken to and not at least acknowledged with some kind of response. Even if you weren't happy about it, even if you didn't want to talk to this person, you knew that it was poor manners to not. That is less of an issue now. Now it is much more about, I'm not going to talk to him if I don't want to. And there are girls who will get as far as being out on a date with someone or being in a relationship with someone and just not have any interest in responding to the things that he's saying. And this is a real shame, but it's a very good indicator of her disinterest in what you're talking about, in you as a whole, in you as a partner. Things like this are major red flags that she is pulling back, that she's not interested in what you're talking about. But to me, it's the biggest red flag is that it's incredibly disrespectful. It's just disrespectful, no matter what the circumstance, to just not respond to someone who is speaking directly to you. So if you are speaking directly to a girl and she does not answer and she's not deaf and mute, then that is a definite indicator that you've got a troubled child in front of you. And I suggest you take that into heavy consideration. Number 3, body positioned away. This is huge. Fort Worth talks about this body positioning a lot in his Build Your Dating System book. It's so good. But the bottom line is, if she's interested in you, you can always tell the girl who's interested in you because even in a group, she's face towards you. She may not be looking at you in that moment. She may be turned away, but her body is facing towards you. So if the person who is in front of you is not aiming herself at you, she's not pointing her toes at you, she's not opening her chest towards you, these are indicators that she is not as comfortable in this situation as maybe you would like her to be. This is extremely concerning if you are in a long distance relationship with a long-term relationship, not long distance, long-term relationship with someone, and she is closed off. She's crossing her arms a lot. She's turning away. You're getting more of a shoulder. She just doesn't bother facing you. She doesn't bother kind of making that connection with you. So be concerned if you've got a girlfriend who is turning away from you, who does not open herself up to you, does not face you. It's an indicator that she, whenever a girl is comfortable with you, she will be open to you. If she is closed off to you, if she is not facing you, if she is purposefully turning her body away, whether standing or seated in a conversation or in a group setting, you will know that is because she is closing herself off to you. It is truly one of those body language markers that is as true as it looks like it is. Even in a group setting, women will often be more turned towards the man that she's with, her husband, her boyfriend, the man that she's attending the event with, that she's got interested in. So, and this is also why in the photographs, like when there are pictures, she's turned towards him. It's that whole green line thing that Rivellino does. Like, body language speaks volumes, and that's where these indicators of disinterest really come into play. So understand, if she is closing herself off or turning away from you, that is her mind telling you exactly where she is in her thinking. Fidgeting with her phone. Number 4, fidgeting with her phone. There are a few exceptions that I want you to keep in mind. A woman, if you're dating a woman who's a single mom, if you're out on a date with your wife and you have a babysitter at home, oftentimes in these scenarios, one of you needs to have that phone out. You don't know if Bobby's going to burn the house down. You don't know if they're going to, like, who knows? You have to be on your phone a little bit. But I am seeing more and more people on their phones 24/7, whether they seem to be on a first date or a 1,000th date. If you're on your phone during dinner, let's say, or during a meal or during drinks, and it is not a true emergency. You know, we used to say a lot, unless you're a trauma surgeon or, you know, you're a brain surgeon or a transplant surgeon, you're not that important. You don't need to be on your phone 24/7. Now, I know every time I say this, somebody says, well, you guys are on Twitter 24/7. And it's true. It's true. But sometimes that's live and sometimes it's not. You have to understand that whenever you are in front of someone who matters to you, whether you're trying to get to know them and that's why they matter, or whether they've mattered to you for years and lifetimes, you need to give them the respect of your attention. It's no different than the 1950s, 60s, 70s, where a man would be reading his newspaper at the breakfast table or at the dinner table, because there used to be two papers, and the woman would feel neglected, or she would be so busy watching her soap operas that he didn't get any attention. You have to focus on the person in front of you, because again, like the verbal responses, attention is good manners. When you know when to put the phone down, then that is good manners. If the girl in front of you is fidgeting with her phone during a first date or a 1,000th date with you, and it's not something that's an emergency, literally, okay, so here's how this works. If a girl genuinely needs to check her phone and she's not just being an asshole, she will say, if she has any manners at all, she will say, I'm sorry, I've got a babysitter at home and I think the kiddo's getting sick. I would never do this, but I need to just check in with my babysitter real quick. And then she'll put the phone down. Or it'll be something like, I just submitted a big project. I keep waiting to see, it's making me anxious because I know that the approval is going to get emailed tonight. I'm sorry I keep looking at my phone, but do you mind if I check it real quick just to see if I've heard from my superior to see if that got checked? No, okay. Or, oh yeah, it got approved. I worked so hard on that. Someone with good manners who knows better will, if she needs to fidget with her phone, she will let you know why. Okay. And it will be quick and respectful. And then she will put that phone back down, face down, away from you. She won't mess with it. So if she's fidgeting with her phone, that is an indicator of disinterest. Looking at anything other than you. So whether she is just constantly scanning the room, whether you're talking to her and she's like, whether she's like making contact with other people, but not you, these are indicators of her disinterest. They go along with the lack of eye contact, but it's a lot more extreme because she is completely checked out at this point. We're number 5, looking at anything and anyone other than you. This is a strong indicator that she has completely checked out of this conversation. Now, you will see this when couples are arguing, when couples who have been together for quite some time are not getting along. They will purposefully disengage from the conversation at hand. So a lot of times you can tell, I love to play that game. Like when we're out, we'll, play the game of, is this a first date? Is this a 1,000th date? Like, are they married? Have they never met before? You can tell so much just people watching. But if she's people watching and she's not engaging you like it's a game and you're not doing it together, then she is disengaged from the conversation and the person in front of her, which in this case is you. Number 6, never asks any questions of her own. You know, girls are nosy. It's just our way of being. We're nosy, we're inquisitive, we are our favorite topic of conversation. However, we're also incredibly nosy. We want to know things about you. We want to know, well, what happened in that relationship? We want to know, well, what did he say when you said that? We want to know, well, what did your boss say about when you asked him for a raise? We want to know, well, how is the car doing? Are we like needing to replace it soon? We are inquisitive people, nosy, shall we say. And girls will never not ask questions if she wants to. So if she's not asking you questions, if this isn't a give and take kind of conversation, whether it's a first date or whether you've been married a long time, if she's not interested enough to ask you any questions at all, that is a definite disinterest red flag. So you can know in those cases that her interest isn't piqued. She doesn't care. She doesn't care enough to ask anything. She doesn't care enough to want to know the answer to any of these questions. So this is a definite indicator that she is checked out of the conversation, the relationship, and you. Number 7, doesn't make any efforts to carry the conversation forward. And this is kind of a continuation of 6, because not only is she not asking questions, but she's not engaging. She's giving short answers. If you're asking questions, she's not really responding. She's giving as short an answer as possible. Again, this applies whether you're a new relationship or an established one. So understand that if she is giving clipped responses, if she's not going out of her way to pull her weight in the conversation, that's a real indicator that she is not interested in you as a person or the conversation that you're having. That's something that is always funny to me. Of course, clearly I do not have trouble talking, but Fort Worth said that that's one of the first things that interested him once he and I started talking on the app, on the dating app, was that he didn't have to pull conversation out of me. He would ask a question, I would answer it, and I would counter with another question. I would answer a question, he would counter with, the next kind of line in his repertoire, because he very much had a system in place. I went on the perfect first date because he had a system that he had built in over the years with multiple women, and I ended up with the best first date ever. But he said what really clued him in that I was a little bit different and that he wanted to get in front of me was that I was engaging in conversation. Now, clearly I'm not a shy girl, and shy girls will be a little bit more difficult to read. But even shy girls know that there are manners involved. They know that there are things at stake with the man who's in front of them. So they will at least attempt to continue conversation, to not just give clipped answers, to give real answers, and to ask you questions and stay engaged in the conversation. So this is an important thing to really watch. Okay, number 8, flat facial expressions. Now, I can't even imitate this because my face doesn't really go flat. It just doesn't happen. And even trying to make my face go expressionless actually makes me laugh. So I'm not even going to try to imitate this, but you guys know what this looks like. Whenever a girl is not bright-eyed, when she's not smiling with her eyes, when she's not engaged, when she's not making that eye contact, when she's not showing her interest, if she has a flat effect. Now, granted, this can be drug related also, whether prescription or recreational, but even then, a girl who is interested in you and talking about a topic that is interesting to her will still manage some highs and lows in conversation, and her effect will mirror that. So even if it's a little bit deadened, if it's, I mean, you guys know what this looks like. I'm kind of a false representation because I am so enthusiastic. So make no mistake, just because she's not like, whoo, like this about you, doesn't mean that she's not interested. But if she's absolutely not making any effort to show you any enthusiasm in the things that she's talking about, and she just has no expression to speak of, she's not really giving you any cues whatsoever that she's in this conversation with you, that is a real indicator of her disinterest. Number 9, along the same lines, a flat voice and no enthusiasm. If she isn't bringing a little bit of the energy, if she's not mirroring some of your energy, if she's not engaged with you in the conversation, then this is an indicator that she is not interested in you or the conversation. And number 10, abruptly says bye and walk away. I feel a little bit triggered on this one. I feel a little bit seen because Fort Worth and I, like, 99.99999% of the time have zero issues whatsoever. And we're actually one of those couples that the more time we spend together, the better off we are, because we're always talking, we're always connected, we're having a great time. But when I am done with a conversation and we're tired and we're cranky and we're not like hitting on all cylinders, this one is the one that I'm guilty of, is this abruptly saying bye and walking away. Like, I don't kiss you. I don't want to hug you. I just want to be like, I gotta go. I gotta get out of here for a second. Like, so I think it's kind of funny that he included that. But girls who don't have good manners, who are sitting in front of you and just kind of don't give any kind of formal exit, conversation, are definitely doing so because, they aren't interested in you. They aren't concerned about the outcome. They're not concerned about hurting your feelings. They are checked out of this conversation. And if it's a first date, they're checked out of you. If you're first getting to know them, if you don't know, like, the way that they play by, the rules that they play by, then that's an indicator that she is checked out. So understand that these are really great things to watch for. These indicators of disinterest are critical to watch for, because like I said on the front end of this, the indicators of interest sometimes can be really subtle. They can be really subtle because girls have been practicing flirting with boys and chasing boys without you knowing that we're chasing you, just to get your attention, literally since preschool. Quite literally since we were like 3 or 4 years old. So we've got a real leg up on how to show our indicators of interest to you without feeling or seeming like we're chasing you outwardly. So it is critical that you really grasp these indicators of disinterest, because a girl who is not interested in you is much less concerned about being rude, about having good manners, and about hiding what she's feeling. So lack of eye contact, no verbal responses, body positioning away, fidgeting with her phone, looking at anything other than you, never asking questions of her own, doesn't make any effort to carry conversation forward, flat facial effect, no expression, flat voice, no enthusiasm, and abruptly says bye and walks away. These are indicators of her disinterest that you need to be incredibly aware of. Before we talk about anything else, I want you to take full advantage of my 2018 consult prices. Guys, for the anniversary of meeting with you guys from around the world, I've had some of the most incredible conversations with men facing challenges around the world. And in doing so, I've learned a lot. It's only expanded what I know that you guys need me to talk about on shows, online, on Twitter, in emails. So I am revisiting for the month of September, so only a few more days, and I'm giving this really awesome discount, and I'm going back to my 2018 pricing for the month of September. So I just put that discount link in the chat box. I hope you will take advantage of it. I've had so much fun talking to men who it may have been a challenge price-wise at the normal price point, but at this discounted rate, they were able to take advantage of it. And I have had such a good time talking to so many individuals around the world in, what's it been? Is that 6 years, 8 years, 5 years? It's pretty incredible. And I've had the best time right here, just having these conversations with you and digging deep into the challenges. What I find so fascinating about my coaching with men, and this is on the topics of dating, attraction, running game, long-term relationship success, marriage, sex, that's one of my favorite topics. I deal with a lot of men who it actually saves time and money in the long run to just sit down and hash this problem out. And what we run into, what Worth and I run into a lot from both of our consulting is truly that men say, who else am I going to talk to about this? I can't talk about this to my buddies. They won't believe me. I can't talk about this to my sister. She doesn't give, she'll tell me just to, kowtow to my wife and give her what she wants. None of this is helpful. So whether you are in a dating situation, whether you're running a rotation of girls, whether you're fucking your way around the world, or whether you're trying really hard to have the best marriage of your life, even through the struggles that come with it, this is a great way to circumnavigate the hard learning. Like Fort Worth's oldest sister always says, you don't have to learn every lesson the hard way. And dealing with a professional in business, dealing with a professional in your relationships, dealing with a professional in the challenges of life that you are dealing with goes a long way in making sure that you don't have to learn every lesson the hard way. So please, please, please take advantage of my September pricing, because I want to help as many people as possible. And some of you, I understand that some of you, the pricing is the main hindrance that keeps you from being able to do that. So for the month of September, I want to give you this incredible discount and go back to my roots and my original price point. So there's that. Thank you guys so much for attending Bunny Church today. I always have the best time with you. I hope you're enjoying Wake Up with Bunny on Monday through Saturday mornings at 7 a.m. Central Standard Time, where literally I grab my coffee, I sit down, and I talk to you guys for half an hour as we go through the internet and what is hot, topical in that moment. Bunny Church on Sunday mornings. I am loving this show. This is my very first live show that I did, and it's still my absolute favorite because you guys are the best. You rock my world and you make everything better. And my interviews. I've got two really spectacular people lined up for bunny interviews in the coming weeks, and I'm really excited about that. So thank you guys so much for tuning in today, for attending Bunny Church, and I want you to win in life, in attraction, in relationships, and especially in sex. So have a great day. Have a wonderful Sunday, and I will talk to you real soon. Bye.